the Samsung Galaxy Z Widefold. Now, I don't think Samsung has finalized a name for this device. It's kind of just what people are calling it, right? The Widefold. I would expect Samsung to change the name, but we do have a sneak peek of what it looks like. I uploaded the video into StreamYard, and let me show you what it looks like, and then we'll get into uh, some specifics if there are any, right? And then we're going to get into One UI 9, One UI 8.5 that's going to come on the new S26 series. But let me show you what this Z Widefold looks like. Hang on one second. Pretty interesting there. It's kind of hard to tell the dimensions of this, right? So it's actually going to be pretty small. So if you remember what the original Pixel Fold looks like, it's sort of like the Oppo Find N5, that foldable that's not necessarily, because you know the Z Fold 7 looks like a phone on the outside, right? It looks like the Z Fold 7 looks like a phone from the outside that just opens up. Now, when you open it up, it's two of these. So it's going to look like this closed, or excuse me, open, right? Now, this one is, when it's closed, is going to be more square-like on the outside. Obviously not a square, but it's going to have weird dimensions. It actually should fit perfectly in your hand. I'm interested to see what the final dimensions are of this. I think it should be fairly similar to the Apple iPhone Fold. So whenever that comes out, whenever that gets released, it should be not exact dimensions of that, but it'll be similar, right? I don't know how many of these they're gonna sell, right? I don't know. We don't know what markets they're gonna release it in. We don't know the production numbers that they're expecting to release, but this looks pretty cool. If there's one request that I can have from Samsung when it comes to this new Widefold, is I really, really hope it has S Pen support. I really hope it does. And I don't know if they are going to support S Pen for the Fold series, meaning like the Z Fold 8. I think the S Pen is out the door unless they can figure something out with the technology. It's just so razor thin that they can't put that digitizer under the display to register S Pen input, right? It's too thin to even put a S Pen layer under the digitizer for the device to pick up the S Pen support. I'm not sure how razor thin this is going to be. I'm just hoping Samsung enables S Pen for this, right? I think that's something that the Z Fold 7 dearly misses. I think that would just throw it over the top. It would make people like myself want to get the device. The fact that the Z Fold 7 does not support S Pen is a huge bummer, right? But this should be interesting. Let me pull up this Widefold right here. So Samsung's Widefold, it's going to have a 16:10 aspect ratio when it is open. So almost a 16:9, sort of like a YouTube video aspect ratio, right? It'll be a little bit taller than what you're viewing a video on YouTube with. But there's an article here. We don't know if it's going to be Z Fold 8 wide. As I mentioned, going back to the name, we don't know if it's going to be Z Widefold. We don't know the official name yet, but we did get a sneak peek at it. So very cool. We don't know the release date. I would expect it to probably release in July is when Samsung does the foldables. So I don't know if they can have it ready in time for the July launch. I don't know if they're going to launch it alongside the Z Fold 8, Z Flip 8. It could be an independent launch that they'll just launch it whenever they're ready, sort of like the S25 Edge. What they're probably going to do is something similar to that. So I think Samsung is probably going to release the Fold 8 and Flip 8 on schedule in July. And then I think what they're going to do is basically a showcase of this, a sneak peek, a first-hand look at the Widefold. And then I think you're going to see it release later in the year. I think that's what they're going to do. That's my estimations. But again, we don't have any concrete evidence as far as when they're going to release this. And in this article, it's kind of weird because I was trying to get the dimensions of this graphic that the editor put in this article, right? You have 3 different sizes, 3 different dimensions, a Widefold 8 render on the very far left, and then in the middle in that black strip, that's the original Google Pixel Fold outer display, and then the Z Fold 7 outer display. I guess that's I guess you would have to, the way the screen is, I think you'd have to tilt it sideways to really get a good understanding of what kind of dimensions we're looking at here, right? Because he's got that one, and then they have this one. So obviously one is for when it's open and one is for when it's closed. And I'm assuming that's what it'll look like when you open it up. So it'll be more like a YouTube video, like I guess a movie screen would not give it proper justice, because actually a movie screen is quite wider than a 16:9 format. But you're going to get close to that, right? You'll get close to that. So pretty cool. Really interested to see where this goes. It'll be interesting to see what price tag they're going to attach to it, and we can assume the kind of specs, right? I'm sure it's gonna have a flagship CPU. I'm sure it'll have 12 gigs of RAM, probably 256 storage. It'll have the usual with a flag. If it's gonna come with a flagship price tag, it should have flagship specs minus the cameras, but we shall see. I will stay on top of this for everybody, so stay tuned to the channel. I'll be interested possibly in getting this. I've got all the flips. I've just never purchased a fold, meaning a book style foldable. So this might be the first one, may not, but I'm going to stay on top of this for everybody. So we will certainly pay attention to this and check this out. So